Well, welcome to my weather application. This is based on Colt Steele's Web Developer Bootcamp on Udemy. And although Colt based his particular API request demonstration on the OMDB API, my one will be on the openweather API, this one here. And so we can see here, let's just go through how it works quickly. So I just type in, say, a city. At the moment it's only for within Australia, so a city or town. Choose the temperature unit, Celsius or Fahrenheit, press search. It validates, make sure that we've entered details, and then it gives us back the weather data. And so it looks like it's nice and clear skies in Perth at the moment. Just go through the basic file structure. We've tried to separate the concerns here. We've tried to have the views or the different rendered web pages. So under the views directory, we've got our partials for the footer and header, and they're served depending on what page will be on, whether it's the results page or the search page. We've also got within this file structure, you don't see it, but we've got an environment file. That is to store the API key and any other server related sensitive data. And so yeah, we can see the root file structure here. So let's just talk about the templating on this. So we'll just go to the main application first. So we can see here we've got this little setting here. We've got the application set to view engine EJS. So every time we call or we render something in the view engine, it doesn't need to have the .ejs at the end. It just calls the actual file here. Search. So it refers to search.ejs. We've already declared that the view engine is EJS, so we don't need to enter the extension for that. So let's have a look. Search. So here is our main template for searching, and what we've done is we've included some of the partials from the search engine. So we've included form head, which is this one here, and we can see here this one for the form we've got a custom JS file that we've included. For the other ones, for the results route or the results template, we don't have this one. Where is it? The main. There's just the bootstrap link, but there's no actual custom CSS link because we don't need that. We're not going to use the custom CSS for the results page or template. So here you can see we just basically added the partials, the footer and the header, and then we just grab the values from here and use them to serve to our results page or render our results page. Let's have a quick look at our results page. So here we define variables that are sent to the results page via the application, and then we plug in, so to speak, the variables into the HTML via the EJS templating. So we can mix JavaScript variables, JavaScript code with HTML, which is a great little feature of this templating system EJS. So you can see here we've got our different divs, and then we've got all these different variables that we plug in, so to speak, to each div. So yeah, it's quite neat. And then again, this has got its own includes partial head, partial foot. The header on this, like I said, just includes bootstrap. There's no custom CSS. And also with a footer, it's just pretty simple. Yeah. So let's have a look at how the routing works on in this app. So we've got two routes. We've got the search or home route just here. Quite simple, and then we've got the results route. So let's just start with the search route. So basically, when we open the application, when we go to the main page, the root page or the root route, we actually go to this search.ejs. We can see here, this when we go to this route, it renders the search page, search.ejs, and this is just a form. Basically, it just this form is once it's validated, it sends the data to the results route. Yep, and then then the results route takes that data and renders it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's just have a look at what we have to do in this form first. So we've got a few inputs. We've got one for the city or town, yep, and we've also got one for, we've got another select input here. So we want to select whether it's going to be Celsius or Fahrenheit. And we also have, for this particular form, we have JavaScript validation. So we've got a form.js here, this file, and what it does is basically it's the basic Bootstrap example that comes with, that is on the Bootstrap website. You can have a look at that in the links in the description below. So I've just modified it a little bit so that we can use this to check to see if our form is valid or not, or if we've entered any data into the form. If we haven't entered a city, it won't submit. It won't submit to the results route. It will just say, come up with a little red dialog box and say, sorry, please enter a city. If we don't select a unit of temperature, it won't also submit. So yeah, that's just the validation side of this route here, the home route or the search route. And then once we've validated, once we've sent it, it sends it to this route here, the results route. Yeah? And so what happens is this results route, it gets, so basically when it sends this data, it appends to the results route a few query strings. So it will say the city, for instance, which I think is going to be called what? It will be called name city, yeah, and then it'll append to that URL as a string. So we grab all those. We grab the response or request query string for the city, and then also for the degrees or the temperature format, and then we use those different strings that we've grabbed from the query or from the form submission from the search route. We grab that and we chuck it into a request, a URL request to the openweather API. So you can see here I've got the API key here. It's in a .env file. So we've got to grab that too. So here's the main URL. So you can see here to grab the data for the weather data for a city or town. We enter the city. So in this instance, the country code is just Australia, but we can make that better later if we want to, or we can make that more dynamic later. And then we've got what type of units. Are we going to use Fahrenheit or Celsius? And then at the end, we will append the API key. And so here is a request we send to the openweather map API. We have the URL, and then we append the API key in the end, and then we get a response. If there's no error, if the response is 200, which means all okay, the response is good, no problems. We can convert what we receive into a JSON format, and then send that data into the results page. Yeah? So it's now going to be available because we're passing it into, or passing it into the results.ejs page. And then so you can see here we can grab it. We can grab any variables that we want from the results, from the response, or the what do we call it, from the request that we made to the API. And then last of all, we also have to listen for any requests from the browser or from the user. So we have to listen if anyone wants to request a certain route maybe, or they've made a form submission. Well, the server needs to listen for that, and so we've set that up for on a specific port as well. Okay, well I think that's about it. Thank you for listening.